Hello again, and welcome to another taste of the writings of Thomas Merton. I hope you're enjoying this series and it's giving you a lot to think about. I'm using it primarily for a self-examination, and that might be something that you'd want to do as well. Today, our quote is about the contemplative life. And this is a rather long quote, and so I'm going to break it up into sections. This is section 1 of his talk about contemplative life. He says, if you're using the Book of Hours, it's page 177 and 178. As I said, it's quite long. We'll take part 1 now. The contemplative life is then the search for peace. Wow, there you go. If you're looking for God's peace, peace in your life, peace of mind, and peace in the world, the contemplative life is one way that we can seek that peace. Is then the search for peace. Not in an abstract exclusion of all outside reality. So you're not, this isn't a fantasy life. This isn't a fantasy world where you make believe that the outside doesn't exist, even though you're looking inward. It's not a barren negation, closing of the, it's not a barren negative closing of the senses upon the world. So it's not even making believe that your own desires and thoughts and physical senses don't exist. But this is what it is. It's the openness of love. It's being open to love. The scriptures told Merton and tells us that God is love. And even those folks who don't use the term God as much as I do, and maybe don't even have the same kind of concept of a deity as I do because of my Christianity, all believe in love, that the ultimate characteristic, the essence of the Divine One is love. It begins with the acceptance of my own self in my poverty and my nearness to despair. So when we compare ourselves with our concept of the Holy One, when we could let's put it in concrete terms. If you just compare yourself to Jesus' earthly life, you realize how far short we often fall. We always fall, and we can feel discouragement and almost despairing. So he says, it begins with acceptance of my own self and my poverty and my nearness to despair. So if you felt discouraged, if you felt like you don't measure up, accept that that's how you're feeling. Accept yourself. But listen to what he says. You accept yourself that way in order to recognize that where God is, there can be no despair. So there is no need to despair. There is no need to be discouraged and give up, because God is in this place. And if you've ever read the Bible, you know that it tells us that there's no place where you can run and hide where God is not. That God is all and in all. Omnipresent is what it's called. Everywhere. is the Spirit of God. So if God is in me, even if I feel despair, he says, I want to recognize that where God is, there is no despair. But just because God is there, why would we feel differently? The presence of God changes us? Well, yes, it does. But listen, that nothing can change God's love for me, since my very existence is the sign that God loves me. And the presence of his love creates and sustains me. That's why there is no despair. In the presence of God, we recognize, perhaps more than when we're just sitting and thinking about ourselves, that God is love, and that this love continually creates and sustains the world, creates and sustains us. So the fact that we're living and breathing shows that God's love is present. The love of the divine is being poured out into us. And because of this love, we don't have to despair. The source of the universe, the source of all universes, all being is sustaining you. That's love. So you don't have to despair. We don't have to accept these feelings of loneliness and unloveliness. Nothing, he says, there's nothing can change God's love for him. And that is what is sustaining him. If he's feeling, knowing that he doesn't measure up, it is still God's love that is sustaining him. And he has proof that God's loving him because he exists. And God loves all that exists. So tomorrow we're going to see more. But remember, this is a description of the contemplative life, and it's a search for peace. And the beginning of that peace is knowing that God loves us and sustains us. I hope to see you tomorrow, and we're going to continue this quote. Bye for now.